Valentine's Day was a couple days ago, and I spent it with the game that I love, Resident Evil 4 Wii Edition.
And I have a confession to make. 4 weeks ago, the YouTube user HSHater politely asked me why I hadn't done an adventure with Resident Evil 4 yet. I decided to be a pecker and I told him that if I only reviewed good games, then I would cease to be funny. But then I started to think about the game. I recalled that it was a grand experience and a lot of fun. So if I were to review it, that would mean I would get to play it again. And I decided, heck, RA5's on the way, might as well get a refresher. Then I swallowed a bunch of sleeping pills.
Alright, so one request got through, but don't expect it to happen again.
Resident Evil 4
is an awesome game. You play as Leon Scott Kennedy, who is the bodyguard for the president's daughter. He's probably doing a piss-poor job because she gets kidnapped and taken to Europe. You're sleeping on the job, Leon. Leon first appeared in Resident Evil 2, which I had for the Nintendo 64, and it was my favorite until, number 4, of course. He's basically having the worst first day on the job ever, and even with that anime voice, I thought it was badass. That's why I have this bumper sticker. It should probably include the word even, because as it is, it's kind of misleading. When he goes to search for her, of course things don't go right and he has to deal with a bunch of unruly villagers. But at least I got to practice the 3 years of Spanish I learned in high school.
¿Qué carajo estás haciendo aquí? ¡Lárgate, cabrón! Tenemos que irnos, Lord Sattler.
At the date of this review, the game has been around for a little over 4 years. I have to phrase it like that because upon the assumption that I'm around a year from now, somebody will kindly point out my miscalculation. Anyway, the game still looks really good. When it first came out on the GameCube, people said it made a GameCube look like an Xbox, which I always thought was kind of weird. Whenever I played it, my GameCube maintained its size and shape. It features all the bloom lighting and bump mapping we're used to nowadays, and undeniably realistic movement. I could yammer on about graphics, but they're not even half the reason why the game is good. Resident Evil began with second-person shooting and slow-paced terror. Leon Kennedy gives all that a roundhouse kick as Resident Evil 4 is a third-person action game. The terror is still there. Instead of a zombie crawling at you, a giant mutated caterpillar thing is running towards you. As much as I am a fan of the other games, I'll be the first to admit that being stuck in the same building for 8 hours because every sodding door is locked can really wear on one's self-esteem. With Resident Evil 4, this is never a problem because you're constantly changing locales and fighting increasingly bastard-like enemies. Prime example, for half the game, you don't even concentrate on the main bad guy as you're introduced to the lovable, huggable Ramon Salazar. And for part of this section, you get to play as the president's daughter. Her weapon of choice, the lantern. Oh, by the way, her name's Ashley. The game is just full of these little challenges. Oh, you thought fighting that blind Wolverine thing was hard? Yeah, now fight 2 of them. And when you're done with that, fight another one in a steel cage this Sunday only on pay-per-view. My favorite part of the game is this grand ballroom that they just flood with enemies. There should have been a banner on the side of the wall that said, "Here, Leon, try this on for size." You are brutally introduced to strategies like bottlenecking, or my custom tactic, which is blow away their shield, shoot them in the knee, suplex, then cut them to death. You know in a Zelda game when you fight an impossible boss and when you finally beat it, you feel really good about yourself? Resident Evil 4 consists of these moments. You literally have to plow through your enemies to get to your checkpoint, and it's incredibly satisfying. From time to time, I chuckle. Die-hard fans fret not, because on Disc 2, in Chapter 5, the game slows down for the never-been-done-before laboratory scene, and a larger concentration of boss fights. The GameCube and PlayStation 2 versions of the game get a roundhouse kick from Leon Kennedy when it comes to Wii controls. Pointing to where you want to shoot is so much better and takes immersion to a whole new level. Yeah, you could play with the classic controller, and it does work really well, but if you're gonna do that, well then you deserve a roundhouse kick from Leon Kennedy. Let's take a look at some other zombie things. I've heard this title pronounced in many different ways, but as long as you say it like Onishin Bara Bikini Samurai Squad, you will be correct. This game is fantastic. Resident Evil Degeneration has some pretty awesome action and brings you close to some familiar characters. Although Leon is completely unlikable because his character model looks like it was drawn by Todd McFarlane. So yeah, Resident Evil has some movies, but some movies also have Resident Evil. That's my twisted way of saying that Resident Evil 4 shamelessly plucks scenes from popular films. Seriously. Examples being The Matrix, Lord of the Rings, Indiana Jones, the aforementioned X-Men, Indiana Jones again, Alien, Indiana Jones once more, and Star Wars. If I were to try to find some bad things about this game, I guess I would ask why does Ada and Lewis get to pop in and out of scenes like they're the Joker in the Dark Knight film? And I still can't believe that they put green herbs in this game. When you combine them, they land on paper, and when you take them, you feel all better.
This game was made by potheads.
And why does the merchant always arrive at your destination before you? I actually really like the merchant. I think he'd make a great telemarketer.
Got some rare things on sale, stranger.
Don't shoot me! I just want some pants!
The ending is a bit predictable. You shoot a big boss with a rocket launcher, something big blows up, and then you wait for the sequel. Where have we seen this before?
How about we do some, overtime?
Oh my goodness, Ashley, that's just gross. Sorry if I spoiled anything. No, I'm not. I don't apologize for anything. But it's because of Resident Evil 4 that I learned that you can say you love a game without it sounding all gay, as long as you provide good reasons. And no, exploding heads does not count. I was seriously asked in high school why I stuck with video games and never really pursued a girlfriend, and the answer was easier than I ever thought it would be. It's because video games are always there for me, you know? My GameCube was never gonna break my heart. Okay, bad example. Anyway, these things provide hours of entertainment, and they never try to change me, and they're never gonna leave me. But don't get too excited, because Resident Evil 4 doesn't put out.
Women.